I am Charles McFall out here in here in my studio, and yeah, just wanting to see what's going on with you, how everything's playing out. I see the chat right there. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a little while. The world's been a little crazy, hasn't it? It's been a little on the weird side, but uh, we do what we do out there. And so I'm just going to talk about whatever, right? And I want to hear what's going on for you. I want to hear the world that you see, the world you're experiencing, what you're going through. I'm still working on a call in, where I'm still working on a way to call in to the studio and to talk to me. Everything's working good in the studio. You see, I got one little set of lights up on that side, one little set of lights up right there, and just have a lamp on the other thing. It's all in progress, but you got Cookie Monster back there supporting us. Cookie Monster's all blue, right? Because he supports EMS and paramedics solely. Screw you, firefighters. Screw you, police officers. No, in all seriousness. One of the questions I have today is, do you feel like you're appreciated? Do you feel like you're being recognized in the field of EMS today? I've heard stories of big companies doing things for hospitals and not including EMS. I've heard of hospitals, like I was at Walton the other day and heard the story of how, I don't know who it was, but somebody brought them like a ton of, maybe Zaxby's themselves probably, but somebody brought a ton of Zaxby's chicken, right? The big platters, whatever, over to the hospital. And not only did the hospital bring in EMS, but they called some local non-emergency EMS companies that come and pick up patients for them to come and be included. So while Zaxby's may or may not have intentionally just gone to the EMS service, I don't know. I don't know all the details. The hospital made sure they were covered. Some city yesterday, I forget which city, maybe New York, had the Blue Angels and the Silver Devils. I don't know, the other flight crew, whatever it is. You got the Blue Angels and you get the other flight team flying together over the city to recognize first responders and healthcare workers, is what that was phrased as. And so, yeah, it made me think about, are you feeling recognized? Are you feeling good about the job you're doing? Are you being treated right? What's up, Nathan? What's up, Julie? How you doing this morning? We're just chilling, drinking our coffee. Nathan's down in South Georgia. Actually, Nathan, aren't you kind of near aren't you near Albany where they got overwhelmed really good? Hey, Sherry. I am doing all right. Yeah, I just wonder how you're feeling, how everybody's feeling about it. I know, man, I gotta tell you, I haven't heard it much in our industry, to be honest. I am sure it goes on, but see, we're fairly smart about how we complain in our industry in EMS. What we do is we talk to each other in the ambulances and in the ambulance bays where we can't be recorded, right? And we can't get called out for the stuff that we say. And that's where we complain. We don't necessarily complain on Facebook in public and those kind of things. And this specific complaint I'm thinking about right now is being essential, right? I swear to God, man, I hate when people are out there and going, oh my God, I'm essential, I'm being abused, oh, this or that. And if you are being abused, there's two things to consider, right? One thing to consider is it's just a tough time and people are shorthanded, and that just could be, there's less people to do the job and there's more job to do. That is part of it. And I'm not saying it depends on how you define abuse as well, right? It really depends on what's going on. Are you just running a lot of calls and just having to carry a heavy burden? Or, is it that one truck gets to sit around doing nothing all day and you have to go and run everything? I'm messy this morning. I see that. I gotta get myself straightened up, get stuff taken care of. My bunker, Yeah, I'm bunkering up for COVID, man. I'm in my safe room. And, you know, but that's one thing. Another thing is, there are definitely bosses who are bad. There's definitely bosses who misinterpret and panic and freak out. And, everybody has to work all the time. And you sit there. I can't think of an exact situation. I've never worked through a pandemic. Most of us have never worked through a pandemic before. But, in my EMS situation, there was plenty of times when the higher ups, the powers that be, if you will, they would see something. Okay, back at Newton EMS. This is, ooh, man. Crap, that was 15 years ago, I guess now. Back, something like that. And I guess it's around 2005, 2006, somewhere there. I was at Newton EMS. And they were building the Knox Surgical Center. And the word has it, this is all rumor, right? I don't know any substantiation other than the back part of the story. But the first part of the story is, $100,000 went missing, something like $1 million went missing. I don't remember. And it's probably an oversight, and maybe they went over budget on building. Who knows what actually happened? But I know there was a period of time that was unprecedented, right? By the way, they being the powers that be, were tightening up the hospital and shortening shifts and shortening staff. And, everybody, had to work harder and do more stuff. And if they just didn't have certain amounts of beds filled in the ICU, I think it was, then they'd start sending ER people home at night. Not in the daytime. No, screw that noise, right? In the daytime, they would get like 17 people in the ER. During at night, we had like 5. And if they didn't have enough beds, they started sending some of us home. It was not a good time. Right. And I worked in the ER through that some, and I worked in the EMS some. And I remember in the EMS part, they came down, they'd been kind of relaxed a little bit, saying, okay, you can kind of sit around and talk. The policy I think had been for a while, you don't turn on the TV, but essentially, as long as you're getting the work done, the house stays done, the truck day's done, you can kind of sit around. And then it became, somebody came over, the head of the hospital, one of the higher ups came over to EMS and a surprise visit or something. And all of a sudden it was, people were laying around on the couch and we can't have that anymore. And blah, blah. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And I sat there in that situation and I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I'm here for 24 hours. At 3 a.m, I will be running calls, or at least hearing the other truck run calls. I was at the city station, so we had 2 trucks at that time coming out of that station. And I'm going, you just don't care. You don't care about us at all, because you're going to go home. You're going to get off at your normal hours. You're an office dude, so you're going to work 8, maybe 10 hours max. And you're going to go home to your wife or to your husband or family. You're going to eat a nice dinner without having to rush through it. You're going to go to sleep in your bed and get a solid, depending on when you go to bed, right? 8, 10 hours of sleep. You're going to wake up well rested and you're going to come back to work tomorrow. I'm going to be up for the majority of my shift running calls. I might get 3 or 4 hours in a row if I'm lucky of sleep. I might get to sit down and eat a hot meal if I'm lucky. You don't care. And that is a really bad situation to be in. Especially nowadays, that's a tough situation to be in. And I appreciate the world doing the empty gestures. The empty gestures, planes flying over the city, going thank you to public safety, first responders, healthcare workers, knowing that people kind of care, and they don't, though, right? They don't care. They want to care. They feel good about saying they care. But where's the actions, right? Where's the gift cards showing up at the EMS stations? Where's the big catered meals showing up at, maybe they are, showing up at the fire stations? Where's the love is what I'm saying. Some places are doing okay. McDonald's, I went by there with a partner the other day, and they were buying lunch. I brought mine, and so they ordered their food and whatever, and they had cameras. Apparently, they have cameras on the order signs at this particular McDonald's. And because I asked her, like, yeah, because it's a really fancy sign. She's like, oh man, I forgot to offer you the thank you meal. So for those of you out there, you might have to ask at McDonald's, but this particular McDonald's in Monroe, they have thank you meals to all public safety. If you're in a public safety vehicle, then I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's probably their basic hamburger, fries, and a drink, like a number one combo or something. But they have a thank you meal. So McDonald's is putting it out there. Now, it wasn't her fault. And she apologized. She offered it right away at the window. Even, would you like your thank you meals? And we're both like, no, thank you. We appreciate you. Now that's showing the love. That's a person who cared. She's just caught up in the habit of everything else in her day, as we do as human beings. But she cared. She's like, crap. I meant to ask. I meant to offer, and that because she didn't have to say anything. She could have just covered it up. We would have known. And she apologized. She offered it right then, and that was cool. That's cool. Some places are doing that. You can find out where it is. So yeah, there are definitely some people who care. There's definitely a world that cares. But do you care? I mean, that's the thing. Do you care about what you're doing? Are you happy with where you are? One of the things that's happened at the school is that it's been shut down. Number one. Right, because you need to kind of congregate. You need to have a whole bunch of people. Well, not a whole bunch of people. You need to have people together. So the whole shelter-in-place thing shut us down, which is fair. But before that, all of our clinical sites kicked us out, kicked everybody out. Because I don't know who they is. I really don't. I don't know if it was the state. I don't know if it was the individual companies that we were working with. So we have some fire departments. We have an ER. We have a couple of ambulance services. So I don't know if it's each individual going, we don't want to take this liability, or if it was the state that sent out a mandate. But the general Cody Fingers, is worried they don't want students to get COVID. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I think we should leave it up to the students whether or not they're going to hold off. We had, and the state is extending our students, but the state's still saying that even as an advanced EMT, you have to get out there and do patient contacts. Like, well, a lot of these EMTs work for a living, so they're getting real life patient contacts all the time. They're just not starting IVs, right? They're not giving medical administrations, which can be done on dummies. I mean, it really is the same in my opinion. And they got some patient contacts through EMT school. That's one argument. Right. That's one argument. The other argument is, do you really want an advanced EMT running a truck, potentially running a truck out here in the field, not having a lot of patient contacts and getting specific touches done and working with special patients? It's a tough time. It is a tough time. But David Newton has said that they have to get out there and get patient contact hours, or I don't know the exact definition. They have to get out in the field, which means, we can't put these kids. None of them are kids, but we can't put these students out in the field because, some places for a little bit said you could come, but you have to bring all your PPE, and they were requiring goggles, gloves, masks, gowns, and some still might. I've definitely seen pictures of medics running normal everyday calls, fully gowned up. And my question to you, here's a little side note, and I will tell a little story about Chick-Fil-A that spawns a side note. Are you changing those gowns every time you touch a patient, like different patients? Or are you wearing the same PPE from patient to patient? Now, the mask, please correct me, please educate me here, because my understanding is this. The mask is truly originally meant to be for the patient with symptoms, because they're the one coughing out the particles, the fluids that are infected. They're the one who are coughing things up, right? Oh crap, there's a lot of chat. It didn't scroll. I apologize, everybody. Y'all been talking and my chat did not scroll. Okay. Yeah, so Nathan, I'm getting to that point. Yeah. Nathan says earlier, is this not what we signed up for when we took the job? We've been around worse and not even knowing what the person's carrying. Absolutely. Um, and Sherry's the first responder says, thank you for all you do to all first responders. There's wish, and she goes, I wish there was more I could do for you all. And man, I don't want to, let me go back because I apologize because this thing didn't scroll. I thought people weren't talking. uh, Firehouse Subs delivered 25 meals to the station the other day. Nathan says that's cool, and Sherry. Honestly, it's hard being in the middle of it, but also being separated from it. It's hard to say what you could do more. I can tell you when things clear up, randomly showing up to any fire and understand that fire. Okay, here's the first thing you can do. Understand that fire and EMS are separate. There's two different things. Now, some places like Gwinnett County run both at the same time, where the fire truck, fire trucks show up. See, that's the thing. Fire trucks will show up to all the calls in a lot of places. And on that fire truck, you'll have EMTs, absolutely. But then you'll have an ambulance that will show up. And sometimes, if it's the exact same color as the fire trucks, right, with the logos, like Gwinnett County is, then they run both fire and EMS together, and they'll be stationed together. And so if you go to a fire station, they may or may not have an ambulance, because not every ambulance is at every fire station. But showing up to a station with a big batch of cookies, or we've had restaurants show up and give gift cards. We've had people come by and say thank you. Finding a way to say thank you, especially if it's a specific crew that did something for you, or if you're out and about at a McDonald's or a Wendy's or something, and you see a crew come in, you can offer to buy them. I don't know your financial situation. I'm just throwing out ideas. You can offer to buy them lunch. You can take care of that. Just the little things. Actually saying thank you eyeball to eyeball to somebody. I really, you coming out and even saying it here on the chat is a good thing, because I can tell you, too many things gloss over. Thanks all to healthcare workers. What's the first thing you think of when you think healthcare worker? I know my first thought is not even a paramedic. My first thought of healthcare worker is nurses and doctors in the ER. And they definitely need the love too. Don't get me wrong. They deserve the love too, but it's been tough. Terry says, we all love lung butter, but the lung butter now can make you sick or kill you. So, all right, getting back to that point, I've seen some overreactions. God, man. Okay, people doing this, putting their shirt up over their nose, that does not help anything. I saw somebody make a post on Twitter or somewhere. If it's not an N95 mask, if it's anything but an N95 mask, you thinking that mask will protect you from COVID is like thinking your underwear is going to stop that fart. It's like, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, the hospital staff. Yeah, Nathan, absolutely. Yeah, and you're right. Nathan says the hospital cleaning staff needs to be thanked even from us. And I think that's absolutely right. You see somebody mopping a floor or cleaning something up, it's like, man, you're awesome. You are as important as we are, and we appreciate you for that. Just recognition helps out. But I would imagine that hospital staff, that cleaning staff, probably got in on the big Zaxby's lunch. There's a fine line, right? I feel like I'm towing the line of bitching about not getting enough gratitude and bitching about the gratitude that is given. It's like, well, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I'm going to go back to the PPE thing. So yeah, wearing the masks without filters, it drives me crazy to see people doing that. And it drives me crazy to see people wearing gloves. Okay, that's fine. And then taking your gloves off and dropping them in the parking lot. That's not okay. That's stupid. I wouldn't let my kids go to the grocery store for the longest time, and I'm still iffy about it. And every time, they've only gone twice, and it's been more recently as things seem to have calmed down a little bit. They go with their mom, who I'm still married to. I know I say it's their mother, but whatever. I'm not taking them. But I give them the speech of do not touch things. Don't go picking things up off the shelf, because here's what's happened. Let's go worst case scenario. Somebody who's sick with germs, possibly COVID germs, has coughed all over their hands. They picked up that thing and they put it back down. That's the problem I have with going to the grocery store with kids. Personally. Yeah, people wearing gloves inside their own car. Exactly, Nathan. Exactly. So I'm going to get to my question. When you have the full gown on, right? I've seen medics do that. Are you changing that gown out every single time? Or are you going from call to call to call with that gown on? Are you getting back in that front seat of the ambulance with the gown? Because all you're doing is transferring the COVID. That's it, man. You're cross-contaminating everything. Watching people drive in their own cars wearing gloves and masks, even N95 masks. I'm like, you're in your own car, and there's I'm looking around, man. There's nobody in your car. Why are you wearing a mask in your car? I don't understand. So to Chic-Fil-A, so here's the thing, everybody. Us being asked to wear masks when we walk into the hospital. I work with a non-emergency service. I put in some decent time this past month. I'm gonna be working. I hear more. We did get some help. The school did get some of that help. And so I'll be working more, doing lectures and preparing media and those kind of things here. So I won't be on the ambulance for the next month or so. But I was on the ambulance, and we'd just go by to say, hey, we're available to pick up calls. And everybody's masking up. I'm like, why are we masking up? We're not even going to be near patients at all. We haven't been near patients at all. And well, they like it. And here's the thing. You walk in, all the nurses have they're behind their nursing counter, right? No glass. And I'm saying this is okay. I'm saying let's use our brains, right? There's no glass around the nursing station. It's all open air. It's a desk of a normal size. Was that 2 feet, 2.5 feet wide, separating me from the nurse. Everybody's in their rooms. Now, if they go into the room, they'll put their mask on when they're approaching the patient. But all the nurses have their masks down around their neck or however they do them. They're not wearing them behind the desk. And we're just going up to the desk to talk to them. Yet, we need to put the mask on to make people feel better. Right? Walking into dialysis clinic, we're masking up. And now they are wearing their masks for the most part. The patients have masks on as well, but they're still not the N95. And please, again, correct me if I'm wrong. If it's not N95, it doesn't do a damn thing. And even if it is N95, if it's overkill. It's the body condom from Loaded Weapon 1 with Leslie Nielsen, I think it was, or Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen. It's a full body condom, right? It's okay. But if you're not if there's not a patient there who it's supposed to, it's hurting my brain so much to think about. It's like, if a patient possibly has symptoms, the patient's supposed to wear it. That's what protects everybody. Why are we having N95 masks constantly when we go pick up somebody? Now, it makes my patients feel better. And I've ordered a special mask with a filter, right? I make sure, because I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but I'm not going to wear a mask that's just cloth just because it looks cool. Because I did that, when we are provided on the ambulance, we're provided with N95 masks and those basic blue stupid. I mean, if you're coughing, if I'm coughing, it'll keep me from spreading my particulates, is the word I was looking for earlier. It'll keep me from putting particulates into the air and into your face. Sure. But it doesn't stop me from breathing in air, which means it doesn't filter out all the germs from the outside. And I'll put those on to go into the hospital, whatever. And sometimes I wear the N95 because it fits okay. But here's the thing. N95 has to seal. Right. So if I don't shave right and get my goatee tucked in correctly, then it's not going to work. And again, I'm open to being corrected here, but this is my understanding of everything. So I've ordered a special mask that is, once I get it, I'll actually wear it on camera here once I get it in. It has a filter, and I'm going to wear it all the time. Even when things clear up, I'm going to wear it because screw you, nasty people. People were like joking. I was social distancing. I was never social distancing. I was avoiding people because people are dirty, man. People are gross. They do the weirdest things. And we know this from working in the field all the time. No. Have you ever seen somebody in the Kroger or Publix or whatever grocery store you're in go and wipe their nose and then just grab the buggy? Yeah. Kids. Oh my God. Things adults do, people do. So no, I'm wearing my mask just to freak people out. If I think people get too close to me, I start coughing. I do, man. It's something this society this generation will be permanently scarred from this. That if you start coughing, they're going to back off and give you distance. I think that will fade with generational time, right? The grandkids, my grandkids will be like, what are you talking about? Why, who cares if you cough? Well, we're not using our brain. So last story about PPE. And Nathan says we trash it after it's used, which is good. Our face shields are cleaned with bleach and Lysol wipes. Okay. And most hospitals right now are requiring us to have masks on, at least in South Georgia. Oh, I think all hospitals are requiring you to have masks on when you walk in the door. But my point is, it doesn't make a load of sense. They don't require N90. Well, it depends. Yours might. If you're doing it right, you're going to require N95 masks, and you're going to have somebody stand at the door with a thermometer, period. And I've been through that in Atlanta before they shut the city down. We were in Atlanta doing calls as this thing started progressing. And we go into a nursing home, and they'd stop us. They checked us, and they checked the patient. And the medic I was with, like, well, what would happen if the patient had a fever? Would they turn him away? And he's kind of, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's what would happen. Actually, what they might do is say, step outside, but don't leave. Then they'll call the CDC and get instructions. That's what would happen, and lock us down for a couple of hours and lots of paperwork. But yeah, what do you think will happen? They're checking for fevers. If they get a fever, they're going to say no, whether this person is supposed to come to this nursing home or not. So you would have, if you're really doing it right, you're going to require a specific kind of mask. Like, no, that mask is not good enough. You can't come in here. So it's just a show. It's a show, but it's an okay show. That's my point. It's an okay show because it's keeping the public happy. It's giving a false sense of safety because in reality, we don't know enough about COVID to know everything we need to know to go, we got this. And EMS, it is what we signed up for, Nathan. And EMS, what happens is we know how to handle TB. We know how to handle an AIDS exposure. We know how to handle, well, really not even AIDS, it's HIV exposure. We know how to handle hepatitis exposures. We know how to handle so many contagious diseases. And there are protocols out there. And I'm not saying it's we're super safe, but we know enough about it that we are willing to take that educated risk. Because yes, we're on trucks all the time. We're in ERs all the time. We're in Kroger all the time, not knowing what that person in line next to us might have, what that cough might actually mean, what they might be breathing on us that we don't know, what they're leaving behind on their buggies, on the boxes. You know how many hands touches your favorite box of cereal from the time it was manufactured to the time you put it on your table? Lots of them. Some people are Lysol spraying the boxes from Amazon. Sure. There's nothing wrong with that. But are you doing everything? And if you are, that's great. But it's okay if you're not. Because whatever you have to believe, whatever you have to see, whatever you have to think about to keep the panic down, to keep moving forward, then do that. So Chic-Fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A is a decent company. I know plenty of gay people who think Chick-fil-A is a decent company. I think that whole thing about the president being pressured and saying something stupid about how, not his belief was stupid, the saying it was stupid, because you knew that the world was going to run with it. You knew, and he avoided the question, and then he went, fine, I believe marriage between a man and a woman. I think that whole situation was a blowout of stupidity. If you don't want to eat Chick-fil-A, don't eat Chick-fil-A. But your protests aren't going to stop it. And do you know the president of McDonald's, what he believes about gay people? I doubt it. Do you know the president of whatever car company that you drive thinks about your lifestyle? I doubt it. Do you know how many racist people work in high end positions? I doubt it. I'm hitting a note. I'm like, I gotta stop hitting that repetitive note there, right? That's not what I want to do. Well, my podcast cut itself off, so well, whatever. I'll fix that later. So my point is, I think Chick-fil-A as a whole is a decent company. They have good workers. They have good, clean working environments in general. And everybody says, if COVID testing or any, government check lines or anything was handled like the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, we'd be done by now because the Chick-fil-A drive-thru is on point. And to notice the other day, we pull up in the ambulance. Same partner that went to McDonald's, actually. We pull up in the ambulance, and there's somebody, as they do, that it seems like they pioneered the going outside with the clipboard long before COVID even came around to make the drive-thru go faster. And there's somebody with a mask on. I've noticed instantly it's just this cutesy little thing they ordered off of Etsy, and it's really not doing anything. And she took the order, and she stayed 5 to 6 feet away from the ambulance. And okay, confirmed the order, everything's good, done. Drive up there. They have a duder on the corner, and he's sitting there just with a machine. They can take cards and swipe in the cash register and all that. And he's there to take the money. And he's got a mask on. He's got gloves on. I think the order taker probably had gloves on too. I wasn't noticing, but he's got gloves on, right? So he's PPE'd up. He's ready. But as we're waiting in line to pay him, I'm noticing he reached into this car and dealt with that, and he reached into this car and dealt with that, reached into this car. We're at least patient number 4, if you will, in line to this guy. And I'm noticing he's not changed his gloves one time. He's taking the money, interacting with people, and didn't change his gloves one single time. So here's the funnier thing. He picks up this basket, holds it out, lets my partner put money into the basket, right? Won't take the cash directly. They were some won't take cash anymore, which makes me wonder, do we know? And I honestly don't follow everything with COVID. Do we know that COVID sticks to paper money more than it sticks to a plastic card? I don't know. But anyway, some won't take cash anymore. Maybe it's because of the handing off of it. But anyways, holds the basket out. My partner puts the cash into the basket. He pulls the basket back, reaches in, takes the cash. How is that different? How is that doing anything? It's still the money from his hand into the basket. Didn't clean it magically. It's just a dollar store plastic basket. You didn't Lysol it. How is this? Oh my God. He puts the money in the register with all the other dirty money that's in the register, counts out the change, puts it in the basket, hands the basket back. And I didn't want to embarrass him. I know it's a company policy. And I'm glad that they're following policy and he's doing it. But there's policy without education that drives me nuts. But the world sees it. The world sees it and went, man, Chick-fil-A is so clean. Man, I feel better about grabbing a bag from inside the building to outside, even on a tray. It's like, no, you still had to use your hands to put my food in the bag. You still had to close that bag with hands, and then you hand it to me with a tray. Are you afraid we're going to bump hands and that little contact is going to be COVID transmitting? And I just can't. But it's funny. I laughed at it. It's like, you're literally doing nothing. You're literally changing nothing. Handing a bag, handing a cup out. You had to touch it. And if you're not changing your gloves after every car, those gloves are doing you no end of good. Because I guarantee you at some point, Mr. Man taking the money, Deuterino, right there on the corner, it's his face with his gloves on, right? Because that's what we do. It's life. So anyway, let me be your voice. Let me tell you, I love what you're doing out there. Yes, this is what we signed up for. Yes, we go and serve the public. Yeah, man, we've done it for decades on decades with zero recognition and zero gratitude. That is the job that we have. At least there is some gratitude going on. And when I say zero, I know there's plenty of people who actually do appreciate what happens in the field. They appreciate that we're there to save lives. They appreciate that we're there just to take grandma to dialysis at home because she needs it. There's absolutely some gratitude. We tend to focus on the negative all the time. We focus on, oh, nobody cares about us because that's just what we do as human beings. And when it feels like your job doesn't care about you, that makes it a hard place to work. When it feels like the general world loves everyone else but you, it makes it a hard thing to handle. But that's just not the truth. The truth is there are people who care. I know I care. And you're like, well, you don't count. You're a medic. Okay, fine. But I do care. My family cares. I've always taught them to care. My family understands there's a difference. I know there's plenty of people like Sherry, who was here earlier. I know she cares. I know there's plenty of people who do care about what we do. And your bosses, whether they show it or not, they absolutely care. They're stressed. There's hard things going on. Well, I say they absolutely care. I'm just giving you a perfect world scenario. The truth might be your bosses don't care. But the reality is there was already a shortage of medics. I mean that from all levels, medics in the field. And they need you. We need you out there. And most of your calls, your call volume has to be better now. It seems like it has to be a little bit better now because most people are only calling for real issues. But I'm in the field. I will be surprised when somebody comes back and like, nope, I ran 15 calls yesterday. 10 of those were sick calls that were just nothing. I would definitely be surprised by that, but things happen. I know ER waiting rooms are empty. People aren't packing them out like they used to, which is good. And I think in general, our society is becoming more polite. And that's why I'm saying, personally, I think this COVID thing, this shelter in place needs to go on for a good another month. Now, notwithstanding how it might hurt you financially, that I never wish any financial harm on anybody. I'm saying in general, traffic's been down. Car accidents have been down. The stores are not packed. People aren't nearly as rude. You should always give people 6 feet of space. You should always be back away from somebody, not crowding them, making them feel like they're pinned in to an aisle. It's just good hygiene. It's just good to do it. So keep holding on to this politeness. Keep holding on to this gratitude. Keep holding on to, no, you go ahead. Thank you. We'll give each other space. Be nice to each other. As Bill and Ted said, be excellent to each other. Let's build a society on that. That's what I've seen and taken out of my shelter in place. So I am going to work on, like I said, I'm going to work on getting a call-in line so that your voice can be on here. Maybe your camera can be on here, those kind of things. I definitely can do the camera. It just needs people to actually use it. Otherwise, it cuts off at 40 minutes. But I want this to become more a mixture of like the drive-in shows in the morning where they talk about whatever's going on. And I just want to care about it, right? I just don't care what celebrities are doing right now. And everybody's sheltering in place, whatever. Interesting news, those kind of things. And what do you want to talk about? So that mix between, from in my time, is Regis and Kelly. Before Regis and Kelly, it was I can't remember her name now, but whatever morning TV shows on where they just talk coffee and talk about what's happening. I want to give you some of that, something to break up your day, something to make it a little less hard on you, to take your mind off the job, and to give you something to laugh about. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Check out TikTok. I'm on it to watch stuff. I don't make videos on there yet, but I'm telling you, TikTok has their algorithms down that when you start liking things, it'll give you more of that. And there's great comedians on there. There's some really good storytellers. bar_none. BARR_NONE. Bar none. Yeah, you notice the quotes. Sheltering in place. Yeah. There's plenty of people who aren't sheltering in place. And it's yeah. Anyway, TikTok. I like at bar none. He's a cable, some kind of cable installer. He won't, as a good person, he won't, a good employee, he won't tell where he works or who he works for. But he goes, I had a customer the other day, and he tells these stories of these people that it relates to EMS so much, and it gives us something to connect with, because I thought EMS was the only one who got crapped on by people. All kind of industries get crapped on by people, and they're great stories, and he's funny. And you comedians, right? There's David Nihil. I'm following him, and there's all kind of comedians on there. You'll find something on TikTok to entertain you, to laugh about, and it's in short little 30-second bursts, minute-long bursts. So check out TikTok. It'll give you something else other than Instagram to look at. It doesn't have I'm sure it's on there, but if you slip past the hatred and you go to the hearts and you find the stuff you like, my general rule is if you make me laugh or at least smile, I'll hit a heart and like it, and then I'll get more of that kind of content. Find something happy in the day, right? The news is just utter total crap. Facebook is full of lies, just like the news. I mean, people just say whatever they say. Focus on the good things with your family. Focus on the good things for your time. Shower up. Use some soap and water. Be clean, and you'll be good. I don't know when the next time I'll be back on is, but follow and like this page, and you'll be notified when I am. Thanks for watching.